to go.
Cool!
Hey everyone, it's Nux, and today I want to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog when it comes to his 35th anniversary. Now, for the year 2026, we actually have a lot of game anniversaries that are going down, but this is a Sonic video. Y'all know the drill. Y'all are here for our Blue Lord and Savior. So we are going to be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog for his anniversary, and we got a promo video just a few weeks into the new year, which is honestly surprising. Like, this is probably one of the most earliest they've ever promoted a Sonic anniversary, because usually it takes a bit of time before they come out with like any sort of information. Like, they'd be having us in Drought City, but this time they started off pretty early in terms of getting the hype going. So that potentially gives us a lot of hope in terms of getting something interesting for this anniversary. And in terms of like what I want for this anniversary, that's like a big thing. Just something interesting. Like, the main thing I want for this anniversary is I want it to not be boring. Because when it comes to the 2020s decade of Sonic, I just feel like Sonic the Hedgehog has just been kind of eh. Obviously, a big nickname for this decade of Sonic has been the quote-unquote multimedia era of Sonic. And a big reason for that is because of the fact, well, it feels like this brand is mainly getting by thanks to the movies. And it's just objectively true, because when you look at the lineup of Sonic games that have released this decade, it's clearly just not been as much as some other decades. Now, you could argue that this could potentially be sort of a quality over quantity type of thing, because obviously we know the deal with past decades of Sonic. Like, not every single game that they were churning out yearly and stuff like that was perfect. So maybe you could argue that they're trying to do a bit more with quality over quantity. But the problem is, it's not like every Sonic release this decade has been absolutely perfect. So that's the reason why, like, on top of the quantity just not being that great, it's not like the quality is perfect all the time. So that's what we're going to get into when talking about Sonic's 35th anniversary. We're going to get into what are my hopes for this anniversary in terms of what it means in terms of the grander Sonic the Hedgehog franchise and just this latter half of this decade of Sonic. Like, how do I want this anniversary to go so that we can see Sonic's last 5 years for the 2020s wrap up nicely? So first and foremost, above all else, is I just want a nice level of polish with whatever project we get. Like, whether it's a show, a movie, or game, or whatever, I want to see some nice polished quality. I don't want any scuffness when it comes to what Sonic the Hedgehog puts out, whether in this year or the remaining other years for the 2020s decade, because that's just something that I just think Sonic really needs to get over by this point. Like, I know Sonic is a series that is known to have its ups and downs, but Sonic is getting to a point where the series is so freaking old that, like, we need to be past this whole hit or miss reputation that Sonic has. And the way to get past that is by having a consistent amount of releases that have good quality. Now, some people have argued that this decade, like the first 5 years, have been a good baby step towards that. But if you ask me, I do not think that's the case, because there are plenty of examples of just games that I just do not think had that great polish, whether it be Sonic Frontiers in the state that game launched in and how it looked in the trailers and stuff like that, whether it be Colors Ultimate, enough said, like the infamous Caesar glitches, Sonic Origins, like even when it comes to like basic Genesis ports, those had some issues in terms of their like day one launch, and it was ridiculous. The Superstars multiplayer, like Superstars is a game I think is fine, but then you look at something like how that multiplayer mode functioned and it was ridiculous, like good grief. And then Sonic Rumble, which, good lord, Sonic Rumble, ugh. Like even the mobile games are not safe out here. So above all else, I just want Sonic to have good polish when it comes to his projects. Now, some projects have given me hope for this. Like we have Sonic Racing Crossroads, which while I don't think it's the most exciting Sonic release ever, I do think it's a nicely polished game, and I think it has a lot of value to it that I think would make it worth a purchase. Maybe not for like $80 or even $90 worth it, but like if you're buying it for like a solid $60 or maybe even $70 if you're like really into it, fine, whatever. It's polished enough to where I think that would be okay. And then Shadow Generations, which I did a whole review on. I don't think the game is absolutely perfect, but I think it's a very solid Sonic release side mode, whatever the heck you want to call it. And I do think it gives us hope for Sonic having better polish going forward. But I need to see that when it comes to these next set of projects, Sega. Please, please, like, have a good level of quality when it comes to whatever projects you do. But of course, we're in the multimedia era of Sonic, so I do expect some Sonic movie universe news. We're probably gonna get news on Sonic Movie 4 towards the latter half of the year, and I don't really have expectations for that. Like, just keep the improvements that you've been making between these movies, because obviously I originally think that this movie universe started very mediocre. Like, I think the first Sonic movie is extremely, like, just mediocre and just like, it is such a nothing burger movie. Like, it's not terrible, but it's just so but they've been making more and more improvements that have been making these movies better and better, and if they carry those improvements into movie 4, then I truly think it has something special there. So I'm looking forward to it when we get to it, but other than that, I'm gonna save my thoughts for Sonic Movie 4 speculation and all that stuff for when we actually get the information on that. Although I did see that there was this one article that teased that maybe Paramount might experiment with something outside of the movie universe, like maybe they will consider an animated Sonic movie, which you guys know me, I hope that we do indeed get that, because I've been waiting for like a big budget animated Sonic movie for so freaking long. Like, oh my goodness, inject that into my veins. I don't have much hope for that because I think they're gonna mainly try to focus on the Sonic movie universe as it is. But if we get any sort of like indication of something of that, then best believe I'm on that, and I'm holding out hope for it, fingers crossed. A new Sonic show, which is it possible that we could be getting a new Sonic show there? I've seen some speculation for that, but I'm not going to put too much stock into it. And even if we do get a new show announced, my expectations aren't going to be the highest because of how Sonic Prime turned out. Like, you guys saw my review for the first season of Sonic Prime, which I thought it was okay at the start, but the way that show fell off, oh my goodness, like that show fell off hard. So I'm not going to have too high expectations if we get a new Sonic show. I will be very cautious going into it, but if we get any sort of update on that, then I guess I'll talk about it. But I'm not going to promise y'all that I'll be super interested in it unless it makes like big improvements from whatever the heck Sonic Prime was. And of course, we'll get all sorts of other stuff too, like Sonic merchandise, which will be stuff like Sonic baby toys or whatever. I don't care about all that stuff. You guys know what you're really here for, which is me talking about what potential Sonic games could we get. Now, the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to potential Sonic games we could get is Sonic ports, remasters, and remakes. And all I hope is that it's something very interesting. Please, for the love of everything, do not tell me that the only thing we're going to get in terms of like a remake, remaster, or a port is just something based off the usual games, like the Genesis trilogy, Colors, like one of the newer games. No, bro, like I need to see some of that middle era Sonic stuff get some love at last. Now, I can kind of understand why sometimes that stuff doesn't get a chance to shine, because you have the storybook games, which are like very motion control heavy, so those games would need a lot of retooling if you want to like remake them. The Rush Duo, which, man, I would kill for a Sonic Rush Duo remake, but it has the whole 2-screen thing with the DS, so I can understand that. But something like, for example, an Unleashed port, like a bare minimum official Unleashed port. Yes, I know we have the fan PC port, but like Sega should get on like actually doing an official port. It should not be that hard for them to do an official port, and maybe like add a little something to it, like on the little Shadow Generations type side mode, maybe something with Amy or Metal Sonic, considering that they're gonna have like a big role in Sonic Movie 4. I don't know. Like, and speaking of that, what about that rumored Heroes remake? There's been a lot of rumors of a Sonic Heroes remake, which makes a lot of sense. Again, Amy and Metal are gonna have a big role in that 4th Sonic movie, and if any 3D Sonic game was gonna be very deserving of a remake, and would probably be the safest one to remake besides the 2, which you know exactly what 2 I'm talking about, but it's not gonna happen for various reasons. We'll talk about that another day. But yeah, Heroes is a game I think is very likely to get a remake, but I would still be very worried about it if they're going to remake that one, because Heroes is another Sonic game that I hold to a high regard, and I am going to be watching the changes they make to that remake very closely. I'll probably complain about it, but as long as it's polished and keeps up a good quality, then I guess that will be cool if it gets announced. And of course, the Sonic Advance trilogy and Battle, like that's another one where they don't even have to do like a remake or a remaster, although it'd be nice if it was remade or remastered, but like ports, bro. NSO, like come on, ask Nintendo to do it, man. And the GameCube Sonic games too, I talked about that. But yeah, that's all I expect in terms of what's going to happen in terms of ports, remasters, and remakes. But I do want new stuff too. It is possible that we get some actual interesting Sonic spin-off game projects. Now, I don't expect too much on this front because I imagine what they're mainly going to focus on is something like Sonic Racing Crossworlds. That game is still getting updates, so they're probably going to get all sorts of little updates, like maybe we'll see freaking Goku get added or something, I don't know. By the way, in terms of what I want for that, I mainly just want more Sonic characters and elements added into the game, but I'll be fine with, like, if we have to get more crossover stuff, I'll take some more Sega stuff. But I do think they should kind of calm down in terms of getting into stuff like the Paramount characters and anime stuff, even though it would be very funny to see Goku, Deku, or I don't know, a JJK character or something in the game. I just wanted to throw that out there, but yeah. There's all sorts of stuff I can get into when it comes to spin-off stuff, whether it be Sonic tackling a new genre like a fighter, RPG, like do those formulas again, but do them in a more interesting and big budget way. And of course the character spin-offs, which I talked about in my one of my last Sonic videos, which was the character spin-offs. Although I don't have too many expectations that we're going to get some sort of Sonic character spin-off, maybe a side mode at best, but if we do get a Sonic character spin-off, best believe I'll be extremely happy to see that and I will support it. But that's all I'm expecting in terms of the spin-off stuff. Though of course, it's time to get into the big one. The main thing that you all really clicked on this video for me to talk about, which is a new 2D and 3D mainline Sonic game. Now, I think there's a good possibility that we could get news on the next mainline Sonic project this year, but in terms of it releasing this year, I'm not putting any chips on that because I don't know whether this is going to be more of a downtime year to give some more preparation for next year when they want to really go out, especially since, again, next year is movie 4. So maybe they want to save more of the Sonic stuff for when that movie's about to drop so that they can have more of a synergy thing going on. But I'm not going to rule out that we could still get something interesting when it comes to the mainline Sonic front. And what are my hopes in terms of the next mainline Sonic game? Woo boy. So my prediction is that when it comes to the 3D Sonic game, it's most likely going to be a successor to Sonic Frontiers. Like, I don't think it'll be a direct sequel like a lot of people are expecting, like it's going to be Sonic Frontiers 2, but I do think because of how decent Sonic Frontiers did in sales and attention, that they're going to be taking a lot of notes from that game. But the main thing that I really need to see is I need to see a lot more polish. I want to see more interesting locations and elements when it comes to the characters and stuff like that. Like, I have a lot of thoughts on Sonic Frontiers. It's something I still have to get to eventually one day, but all you need to know is that Sonic Frontiers is a game that I don't think is as perfect as some Sonic fans hype it up to be, and there's a lot of improvements that they need to make to that formula if they want the next 3D Sonic game to truly be amazing. Like, for example, one thing that people are really ragging on Sega for lately is the fact that Sonic & Co. don't have new models. Like, it is very sad that Sonic & Co. are still using those freaking Sonic Generations models, but that's not one of my higher priorities. Like, more than anything, I want the gameplay to be polished. I want interesting new locations. I want, like, just this next Sonic game to feel like an actual unique experience. Do not make more than half of the game be recycled assets and recycled zones, or I swear I'm going to lose my mind. Like, I'm so done with Sonic games that are just like montages and just mostly filled with old stuff. I want a Sonic game that feels like it has its own identity. That's the main thing that I want with these next mainline Sonic games, both the 2D one and the 3D one. Which, on the subject of the 2D one, like, what is my hope for that? If you've watched my Sonic Superstars review, then you already know, like, I don't want another classic Sonic game. Like, I'm ready for a modern 2D Sonic game, and I'm ready for it to do something much more interesting than what Superstars was trying to do. Like, I want the playable characters to feel a lot more dynamic. I want some new locations that just don't feel like they're ripping off the classic zones. Like, I'm ready for 2D Sonic to step it up as well. And then music. Ooh, boy, music. I think Sonic definitely needs to make some improvements. Now, a lot of people get on my case about criticizing the current direction of Sonic music, being like, oh, you're just mad because it's not mostly rock. But guys, I am a fan of multiple genres. I'm not someone who only listens to rock. I think rock should always be a prominent genre within Sonic because that's kind of his thing, in my opinion, in my eyes. Think about this. The fact that the promotional video played Live and Learn just shows how much rock still is synonymous with Sonic, which, speaking of Live and Learn, I thought it was funny that the promo video had Live and Learn, given the whole 𝗃𝗄𝗄𝗧 lawsuit thing, but apparently they actually worked that out. So that gives me hope that Sonic can improve on the music front. And all it comes down to is toning down the EDM remixes, like 𝗃𝗏𝗀𝗃. I know that's kind of your whole thing, but like, bro, give us some other artists in there. Like, let's get some interesting techno artists in there. Let's get like some hip hop artists in there to get some Sonic Rush vibes or some Jet Set Radio vibes in there. Like, I just want some diversity. I don't want the Sonic soundtracks to just all be EDM going forward. And I don't even hate every EDM Sonic song. Like, I think there's been some very good ones, like in Sonic Frontiers and stuff like that. But like, sometimes it just feels a bit much when whole OSTs are mostly filled with EDM sounding music that sounds so dubsteppy and not very stylized. That's my take when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog music. I know that's gonna piss a lot of people off, but that's just how I personally feel. And my last note, which is just basically give more love to the extended Sonic cast. Like, I want to see all the Sonic characters get a chance to shine a lot more than a game like Sonic Forces or some other previous Sonic games over the years. I'm not expecting that this next game is going to have a whole bunch of characters playable, but considering that they were experimenting with playable characters like Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, I would at least hope that they, at the bare minimum, would probably be in this next 3D Sonic game, and the 2D one too, since again, Superstars is a thing, so I expect Tails, Knuckles, and Amy to get some love at the very least. But it would be nice if we do see other characters get love too, such as Silver, Shadow, etc. But with that, those are my overall hopes and thoughts on what I want to see when it comes to this upcoming anniversary of Sonic and just the next few years of Sonic, the remainder of the decade in general. But if you've made it to this point of the video, thank you for watching all the way until the end. What are your thoughts on Sonic's 35th anniversary? You know, what do you hope to see? Like, what's your dream game? What do you hope gets revealed? Is it maybe not a game? Do you want to see some sort of interesting new Sonic multimedia project, like a show, like an animated film? Let me know in the comments below. And please be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new to it, and follow my additional social media in the description for more content and updates. This has been 𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃, and I'm out. Peace.